Come on, hit it, yeah. The champ is on the mic. Struggle's ongoing, but I know the battle is the Lord's. Though tears are overflowing, yet my faith remains. In hope I'm pressing onward. No matter what I face, I rise. His spirit leads me on all the way. Lord, I pray, help me say every day that I wake, I will praise you. Every breath that I take, Lord, I will praise you. My daily motion, I'm moving forward. My daily motion, I'm going higher. My daily motion, I'm moving forward. My daily motion, I'm going higher. Struggles are going, but I know the battle is the Lord's. Though tears are overflowing, yet my faith remains. In hope I'm pressing onward. No matter what I face, I rise. His spirit leads me on all the way. Lord, I pray, help me say every day I'm alive. I will praise you every way while I can. I will praise you. My daily motion, I'm moving forward. My daily motion, I'm going higher. My daily motion, I'm moving forward. My daily motion, I'm going higher. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
Are you ready? Are you with me? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's go. I owe my life to you. I rest upon your word.
That's right.
Your joy alone, my strength. I'm right on track. In you I have my peace, the rock that never fails. I pour my love on you. I know you're in control. I'm singing and dancing and praising, moving, 'cause my Lord is good. Rejoicing, progressing. I'm shouting, God is good. Hey, I'm standing under the rock. Hey, I know my God's in control. I hail, 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 I hail. I talk to the Lord, I walk with the Lord. I stand by the word of the Lamb of God. I talk to the Lord, I walk with the Lord. I stand by the word of the Lamb of God. This is my daily motion. It's guidance keeps me higher. This is my daily motion. It's guidance keeps me forward. This is my daily motion. It's guidance keeps me higher. My daily motion. I'm moving forward. My daily motion. I'm going higher. My daily motion. I'm moving forward. My daily motion. I'm going higher. My daily motion. I'm moving forward. My daily motion. I am going higher. My daily motion. I'm moving forward. My daily motion. I'm going higher. Hello, Daily Motion family. Hi, I am Olayemi Champion Odushola. I'm so happy to be in the house tonight. That beat that I was just listening to was trying to remind me of like the olden days. Like I was almost starting to. I was like, this is our beat now. From a long time ago. Yeah, let's go. Kilo Shelley. What's happening? Good evening. This is Daily Motion Haven of Love. It is a place where we come together as people of faith and we talk about real issues without the facade and without any judgment whatsoever. We are in the house today to have a very wonderful conversation. I'm very excited. One of our less strenuous conversations this fall. We're going to talk about life in plastic. So fantastic. we are all walking life-size Barbies, is what this is saying. So we want to see what that means, what it means really, what it means as newly brought to light by this new Barbie movie, which I hope you have watched at least once. I plan to watch it like 3 times because it's so applicable that I'm like, I want to hear somebody else think that one more time, because that's what's in my head all the time. And so I'm very excited that we're going to have this conversation. And I am once again, please bear me witness before I start to say hello to people. I don't want people to misconstrue my good intentions. I am once again surrounded by doctors today. I don't know where I'm finding all these doctors. God is helping me. You people, I'm telling you that I'm very connected. You don't know. You better move close to me. I'm very connected. 2 weeks ago, we had Dr. Didi and Dr. Muti in the house talking to us about, dear parents, I'm coming out. It was such a wonderful conversation. Today again, I have 2 doctors in the house surrounding me on this screen. So please don't be jealous. I just want to announce that, please, if you want us to invite you to one of our conversations, you have to be a doctor. Now, I'm sorry, our class has just changed. I'm so sorry. Because I'm just looking at it like a doctor here, doctor here. Now, the kind of doctor you want to be doesn't matter. You can be a doctor of a foriro or a doctor of a fuelegusi. It's okay. But the only thing is that I have to be the judge of the food. And then I can give you the doctorate in the food. Whatever doctorate you want to collect. So please collect it. Sorry, did I say I like? I didn't mean to say that. Fried plantain is a good food. So if you want to be a doctor of fried plantain, let me check it out. Amala that has a little bakery is also okay on certain days with a wedu and pomokika. So if you want to be a doctorate of Amala Tosho, I can judge and then we can invite you. But it's so cool how we have so much wealth of people around us. An adage, or I don't know if it's an adage, it's not an adage or it's a saying. In my language, it says "eniyan lasho eyan." That means that really the clothes we wear are not what clothe us, but the people that are around us. And I am surrounded by wonderful people. Everyone who has come on this daily motion, Haven of Love, since its inception in 2020, in the thick of the pandemic, giving of your time, giving of your resources, not charging me money, not collecting tithe or anything. You people, this applause is for you. You have added so much wealth to this community, and I am very grateful. Here's my bow. Thank you. Today I have 2 special people that are coming in to say hi and to talk. And we're going to talk. This is fun. We're going to talk for real. And Daily Motion, please, maybe I should kneel down. Let me kneel down. I'm coming. I want you to talk. This is the second knee. I do want you to add to this conversation because it's going to be so much fuller if we hear other people's perspectives. Because a limited perspective on this topic, it doesn't do it justice. So every question we ask to our panelists, we're asking to you. You know that. So please put something in the chat when we ask the questions. I'm going to say a quick shout out because it's 7:10. Hi, Dr. DTO. Hi, Dr. Ronki. How are you? You're a doctor of fried rice. Doctor of fried rice. Hi, Dr. Mami Fumio Yelami. Hi, Dr. Feyemi. Hi, Dr. Kike Kolawole Adetsoro. You are a doctor of Obeoni kidney. Welcome. Hi, Dr. Mami Ronki. Dr. Mami Ronki, you are a doctor of people. That's what you are. Thank you so much for being here. And without further ado, here are the wonderful esteemed guests that are going to talk to us today. Please welcome with me into this studio one very, very dear sister and one another friend in my heart, because we have made a connection today. We are going to go to dinner. So look at, I'm just making connection all over the place. Please welcome into the studio, Dr. Teju and Dr. Shola are here. You are welcome. You are welcome. Come on in. We are here.
Hello.
All right. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I have thanked you in private and I'll thank you in public. I understand the life of us as women and how much it takes to take even a few minutes or hours out of your life to come and just do this. I really, I thank you. They've
Correct.
harassed me and I cannot talk too much, but I have to tell everybody how I know you. They're going to introduce themselves to you because their accolade is too much. By 8:30, we will start the show because the first part is going to be introduction of what they do and all the certificate they have. I've met Dr. Shola several times. We have never sat down to have a conversation before, but I think for both of us, we have mutually agreed that we are each other's friends in our own heads. And I respect all of the work that she does, the audacity with which Dr. Shola lives her life is an inspiration to me. And because I know as a woman that every day is not like that, right? But when she shows up, she shows up. And I'm not only looking at what she's saying when she's showing up, I'm looking at the life that is behind that showing up. And knowing as a fellow woman that it ain't easy, I have a mad respect for that. So thank you for
Wow.
always
Thank
showing
you.
up. You are very, very inspirational to us. My
Thank you.
sister and my friend is here. I have a reverse relationship with Dr. Teju. I call her the sister of my heart. Usually, when I get close to people, I form a friendship first, and then we start talking about difficult things because I am the queen of difficult conversation. With Dr. Teju, we were not friends first. We started talking about serious matters, difficult things, strategies, and stuff like that. And in talking and just bearing of that, we formed a beautiful friendship and sisterhood that, I just, of course, we therapize ourselves every time we talk. It's therapy. She sends me her bill, I send her my bill. Everybody, and at the end of the day, we breathe, and it's amazing to be able to just share her world. She's what I wanted to be. By the way, I did not want to. Well, I wanted to go to medical school, but if somebody had assured me that my bills were going to be paid if I studied theater, that's exactly what I would have done. But check out the people who have they don't worry, they know that God will feed them. They have faith. I didn't have enough faith. Oh, and that's nice that there is faith. She's gonna tell us about faith. So here are my sisters, Daily Motion, Haven of Love. Please welcome them with emojis, claps,
Thank you.
everything that you
Thank
have.
you.
They're
Thank
both very
you.
dear to my heart. I'm gonna go to Dr. Shala to introduce herself to the Daily Motion family. She's gonna tell us what she like. Well, first of all, till about 8:30, she's gonna tell us all the things she does, and then she's gonna she's
It's
then
gonna
gonna
take that long.
transition into what she does, what she likes, and what she doesn't like. Go ahead, Dr. Shala.
Okay. This is not going to take long. But thank you so much for that introduction. I was like, who's she talking about? Me? Oh, it shows up, really? Okay. I just put out, I feel like, oh, I just put stuff out there and see what sticks. The other day I was talking to somebody, and I said, oh, you guys are doing all this great stuff, and the rest of us NFAs, NFA stands for no future ambition, by the way, we're just dancing on TikTok. So apart from dancing on TikTok, I am a doctor. I'm a multi-specialty physician, I like to call myself. Um, and I work with, I also help doctors go through career changes and defeat burnout, etc., in my capacity as a coach. I'm a conference speaker. I've written 7 books. I'm a career coach, a business consultant. I'm organizational leadership certified. I'm an investor and a serial entrepreneur. I'm a wife and I'm also a mom to 2 teenage daughters. That deserves its own category, I always say. Let me say a little bit more about me. I'm a very animated person, and I like to use big words. Like people will say, Ashola, what does that mean? Why do you talk like that? I'm like, leave it alone. I like to use big words. I like to write. I love to share information. And I get on with most people. even though I'm very animated, and some people see animated and think, oh, I'm scattered. No, actually, I'm very good at bringing calm into chaotic situations. That's kind of one of my superpowers right there. I'm able to call out issues without shaming people. I've been called what? A maverick, a contrarian, an iconoclast. I told you big words.
Yeah.
Um, Known for being non judgmental, hilarious, hardworking, and consistent. So that's me. Now let me see something I don't like. Okay. I don't like it when people tell me congratulations over things that they shouldn't be congratulating me for. I don't know. That's like a pet. I'm
Like
like,
what?
shut up and sit down.
For a
Okay.
scandal.
Okay. For example, this is a good one. I say, hey everybody, I've launched this program. It's for blah 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 or whoever it's for. If you think you like it, click the link to learn more and please refer people, right? People are like, congratulations. I'm like, that's like me coming to say, I went to work and you say, congratulations. Shut up, stop congratulating me. Send me clients.
Send me. That's what we are talking about. Shabi, that's what we are talking about. I know. Somebody said, Dr. Shola is going to make me get a dictionary. I wrote it down. She's a contrarian. I got to get my thesaurus and thesaurus by the time we are done. Everything I'll just write it down. I like looking up big words. So we are going to be a very good match. Dr. Teju is going to introduce herself to us. Actually, I realized that Ebon was the first one in the family that was on Daily Motion, and then we were graced with the beautiful presence of Dikin Olu, and now you are here. So please help me tell Busi that I am coming to her
Hey,
next. She's in next.
hey, hmm,
Good luck.
good
That one you
luck,
should say good luck to me.
good luck.
And when she comes, you can tell me congratulations.
Yes.
There
Go
you go.
ahead. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the Daily Motion
Oh
family.
my gosh, how do you follow Dr. Shola?
Oh, please,
Step by
please.
step. You follow us step by step.
Just remember,
Oh
I'm an
my goodness.
NFA who dances on TikTok.
You know, no, the interesting thing is both Dr. Shola and Dr. Yemi are extroverts. So I'm the only introvert at this in
I'm
this
In
not an
this
space, right?
setting.
extrovert.
Yeah.
I,
So,
I
I'm
am not
feeling a
an
little
extrovert.
oppressed.
Your energy is already matching it. You don't worry. You are already. In fact, we are rubbing off on you. It looks like.
I mean, some
I
people,
am not.
some
I
people
am
will say
not an
that I'm not.
extrovert.
Really?
No.
Neither am
Okay.
I.
You know what? We're getting off track. I'm supposed to introduce myself. Let me
Yes.
introduce. Let me introduce myself. I am a wife to a certain Olu Adeshida, um, cute, handsome man. I am a mother of two teenage girls as well. Um, and I am a doctor of letters. I'm not a medical doctor like our other two doctors here. Doctor of letters with a PhD in performance studies. We can have another conversation about what performance studies is at another time. But some of what I do will give you some idea of what it involves. I am also the artistic director of Fainty African Theater Ensemble, um, which is the first, I believe, yes, it is the first African theater company founded by African immigrants here in the Midwest. And I dare say, well, thank you. Yes, it deserves that. So it's been around, we've been around for about 14 years now. And I believe some of the people here are very familiar with Fate's work. Thank you for coming to the shows. Please come again. I am also Associate Director of Education for a nonprofit organization that does arts integration education for K through 12 schools across the city of Chicago and in the suburbs. Um, what else? I love listening to podcasts. It's become my thing, especially because I used to love reading books, but then I don't have as much time to read books in the way that I would like to read books lately in my life. So podcasts have sort of taken that place. So I'm an avid listener of podcasts. And if you're close to me, I'm sure I send you stuff. So I'm always, sometimes I'm like, "Ah, people must be tired of me sending them, listen to this podcast, listen to this, listen to that." So I love listening to podcasts. Something that maybe is a pet peeve of mine. Um, if I if I've cooked or I'm cooking, and everything's finished and we're about to eat, and I have to look for the people, I get very annoyed because I'm like, I have done the cooking. You people should be here.
You just be waiting there.
I'm like, if I have to call, they're like, oh, no, 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 no. If I have done the cooking, you should be here. I should not have to call you, because the cooking is it takes time, it takes energy. I'm not one of those people who just love being in the kitchen. So if I've done it, please,
Be on the.
report for eating immediately. You
I
know.
love that. That's
So
quite interesting. For me, I don't think I can be mad at anybody because when I'm cooking, it's like science. It's an experiment every time. So sometimes it takes a long time. So occasionally you see people wandering around, and I'll say, "Give me 30 minutes." 1 hour later, that's when we are eating. So I can I cannot be mad at anybody who is not there. But they are starving by the time I finish. So when I
so
say,
that
people of God, no, it's
Jesus.
everybody's starving. Oh, wonderful. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. DM fam. Please introduce yourself to us, please. Pastor E says next time, please don't worry. But just call him. Eh? You just call him. If people are not answering quickly, you just call him. Hi Rainbow. Hi Precious. I think I missed your shout out. Hi Doctor Oluadeshida, Doctor of Guitar, because everybody that is here is his doctor. Hi, Mommy Stella. And oh yeah, I already said I think hi. All right, let's start our conversation tonight because, like I said, I want to be going to Owambe, so I want to be finishing quickly. Because there's still Wambe because the weather is still nice outside. And today, what sparked my conversation or this topic is, I watched the Barbie movie. I was very excited about watching the Barbie movie. Our conversation is actually much deeper than that, but that's where we want to start. And the way that that notion of Barbie was introduced to me or reintroduced to me in the movie was quite different from anything that I had ever experienced or fully allowed myself to participate in. So I was like, this is a very good conversation to have. Growing up, depending on what part of the country you grew up in, Barbies were either a good thing or a bad thing, or was mixed, or she was all right, but there were certain things. And we want to hear all of that tonight. I just want us to have a healthy conversation for the next generation. And what we are really discussing is not Barbie. There are other things, but we'll get there. We had a lot of dolls. I don't particularly recollect if I had a Barbie doll. But we had a lot of dolls. We were always spending our money on dolls. In fact, there was one time in Ilori that we went to go and buy dolls in one supermarket. And when we buy the doll, people would make clothes for their own dolls, but we would make the crib. We would make a crib for them. There's my two sisters and myself. One particular day, we were making one crib like that. That's how my big sister, she cut her knee. It was a deep, ghastly cut. In fact, that was not a fun experience because I don't even know if they knew that we were making cuts for the baby. So anyway, but we love dolls. I'm a teddy bear person, so when I moved to the States, I continued to purchase my teddy bears. But I love dolls, but I couldn't say I was buying dolls for myself. It just felt a little bit weird. So when God gave me a little baby girl, I said, excuse Dele. Oh yeah, baby. Happy baby. So because that's what we called them in Nigeria. Say, show her baby for baby for it was not, it was baby, it was not Barbie. Alright, so of course went crazy on Barbie, and it didn't matter to me what it looked like. If it was the style that we wanted, then we bought it. Then came the era of American Girl dolls, who were a little bit more, kind of catered to a certain look and all of that. I could not afford to buy American Girl doll when it came out. Even now, I still cannot afford it. So, but my daughter was fortunate to have a rich aunt who bought her an American Girl doll. And her American Girl doll was white. Her name is Julie. She still lives here. She's a very active member of this household. So I didn't see that until I watched the movie. And then I was like, there's a lot of things that I obviously have not been thinking about. And so I've just shared my story. I just want to, I'm going to go to Dr. Teju first. I mean, what was your first awareness of, Barbie, or, Barbie as Barbie? And, tell us your experience as a girl. And then after that, we're going to have Dr. Shola do the same thing. Go ahead.
All right. I think, as I told you, the two of you earlier, that I'm not really sure or aware of when I became conscious of Barbie. Because if you grew up in the United States of America, Barbie has just always been there. She's pervasive. So she's just always been there. So I've always been aware of Barbie for as long as I can remember, but I never had a Barbie. Barbie was not a preoccupation of mine as a child, and my immigrant household could care less about baby dolls. So there was no buying baby. There was no baby buying in a household of people who working multiple jobs and going to school and all of that. So the only dolls that I had were my two sisters. So and they were my
Life
dolls, and I,
size. They were
yes,
life
they were life
size.
size, and I could control them because I was the oldest, so I could make them do whatever I wanted them to do. So those are my only dolls. So Barbie was not, was not something that I was, into, or, I must have had a desire for Barbie, but probably too afraid to ask for
Okay.
it.
Of all the things that are on the ground,
Right?
gbogbo kan tó wà nílẹ̀.
She Barbie. So I don't think that Barbie was going to come up in conversation, and she never showed up for Christmas. So, so
This
Barbie was
Christmas,
not.
I'm going to buy you one.
Barbie, you know. So yeah, so Barbie was not a thing for me growing up. I mean, just even toys and playing with dolls was not really a thing for me growing up. But as I grew older, as I said, I became more aware of Barbie and more aware of the implications of Barbie to our society, right, and to the minds of young girls, right, and what she could possibly mean. So that's, I think,
That's that.
as an introduction, that's how I was
Nice.
aware of Barbie.
Same question to Dr. Shala. Hi, Bisola. Hi, Aya. Hi, everyone who has joined us on this conversation and everyone who's going to run into it after we're done. We're talking about life in plastic. So fantastic. We asked Dr. Shola, what was her first awareness of Barbie, and how was it with your childhood? Go ahead.
So I have an interesting Barbie story, and when I was growing up, I had dolls that were shaped like babies. My mother bought us me. I'm the only girl. Brown dolls that look like me, and they were shaped like babies. So those baby dolls, it's hard to sew clothes for them. Like if you don't have enough material. So one fine day, I went to play at a friend's house, and she had a Barbie doll. She also had a Cindy doll. Now, Cindy was actually, I think, so it was supposed to be the British version of Barbie, but it didn't quite work very well. And in the end, Mattel sued them. And long story short, I don't even think Cindy dolls are in existence. But there was Barbie that was tall and skinny. And Cindy was also tall and skinny, but not as tall as Barbie. When she gave me this doll, I was like, yes, finally, a doll I can make clothes for where I don't have to have too much material and all that. So really, that was my, I would say, impression of Barbie. And that grew to a sort of fondness for Barbie. Like, oh, it's a doll I can make clothes for easily, and I can play with it. I can make all kinds of clothes very quickly, like just cut pieces of material, make all kinds of different things. And, I'm not sure, baby, and
That's
and
why I was cracking
sewing
up.
sewing clothes. And that was, I think, honestly, that was my obsession with quote unquote, I would say Barbie, but really Cindy. And again, I think I, just like you, Dr. Teju, asking my mom specifically to buy me a Barbie doll in Nigeria at the time, just kind of not the thing you just went and asked your parents, especially if you were 9 years old. It's like, what do you want to do that for? But I did bring
Baby.
home a Cindy doll. Oh, mommy, my friend gave me. I was like, good,
Because the
right?
problem, tell you, as
And then,
long as somebody else has
exactly.
purchased it.
Gabby.
Yes.
I
So the, so I had the Cindy doll, but this sort of controversy around the image of Barbie. Honestly, I moved to the States in 2006, and that was when I started. You just hear little things here and there about, oh, Barbie and beauty standards and all of that. And yes, while I was aware that there are the beauty standards for women are weird, I'd never really tied it to Barbie specifically.
it was not Barbie's
Mm-mm.
fault. That's what
Mm-mm.
I'm trying to
Mm-mm.
say. Hi, Shubi Salami. How are you? You're welcome to Daily Motion and anyone else who is watching with us. Bisola, hi. I don't think I said hi to you. Bisola was saying that she remembers that cut on, I think Foley had the cut, and it was a very scary cut. It was bleeding, it won't stop. But
Mm.
as you're saying that you wouldn't have baby like this, we were very obsessed with baby. I don't know where we, they're called in Nigeria. Some
You
people
are posh. You are
we were
posh.
no mass of emo. Don't
Posh.
say that. Can you see the evidence of the poshness? Is it remaining now from this English that I'm speaking? Yeah, we had dolls. We were so into them. You started talking about our next point of conversation. Actually,
Mm.
about the controversy around Barbie. Were
Mm-hmm.
you aware that there was a controversy around Barbie and the female standards of beauty being patterned after what Barbie looks like? Was that a thing in your world? Go ahead. Let's go to Dr. Teju so she can share her thoughts on that.
Yeah, I was just thinking, female standards, um, just sort of that expectation of what you're supposed to look like, how you're supposed to dress. That's there with or without Barbie, growing up as a teenager, So I didn't think it was Barbie's fault, that I was going through that.
Agbe Barbie ile
But
o.
I was going through it regardless. Now, where did it stem from? Right? And this is what I was saying earlier, is that Barbie is a symbol, or she signals other things in our society that are already present with or without Barbie. I think Dr. Sharlot
Mm,
mentioned that even if there wasn't a Barbie, there would be something else that would be the symbol for it, right? So the awareness that there were these issues, and these sort of unrealistic standards that were being placed on women because of this doll, or that this doll also represented, not that this doll created, but this doll was created out of that mindset, right? So that mindset existed before Barbie. Barbie just became the physical representation of a mindset that already existed in our society. So I think I became more aware of what the implications of this doll is, as I grew older, more in college, and you're taking, gender studies, and taking, all these, if you go to a liberal arts school, right? And these are papers that you'll write about, topics that you'll come across in your readings. So yeah, I started thinking about, wow, women, you know, there's a lot that's imposed on women. There are a lot of ideas, a lot of expectations, from how we appear to what we do and how we think, what we shouldn't do. So I became aware of that as I grew older. Um, and I dare say, of course, I think I'm impacted by just virtue of being in this society, right? I'm impacted by it as well. It seeps into you. It's like air. It's just there.
collective
And so
consciousness. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So you're buying into it. In some ways, you're constructing your life, and you don't realize that some of the ideas and some of the things that you're struggling with are things that have been imposed, and ideas that have been
Mm-hmm.
imposed upon you. You don't know that. That's what's creating certain internal turmoil, right? And
Right.
dissatisfaction, and looking at your body or looking at your complexion, and thinking, that this isn't good enough or that isn't good enough. Or I wish I had this. I wish my hair was straighter. I wish,
Mm-hmm.
I wish I didn't have all these kinks. I wish that, whatever. I wish that I had these kind of clothes, and I wish that my body looked this way. You don't realize that it's coming from sort of these social constructs that have already
Yes.
been put in place that you are operating within, and that there needs to be a certain kind of intentionality on your part to like work against that.
Yes.
Beautiful. Can't you see that people are speaking English? Intentionality, construct. There's two. You said I forgot to write it down. Please be
Stop
writing
it.
it down, no DFM. Maybe we will not be charging tight. We'll be charging tuition because when we come here, it's like we are coming to learn English. So please, starting next week, we'll be charging tuition to come to school. Dr. Shola, go ahead with the same question.
I think I laughed all my brain cells out.
It's okay. It will gradually come back. It will gradually come back.
Oh my goodness.
The Barbie
Um,
controversy. What did
yes.
it mean to
So,
you?
okay, so I'm going to give a bit of a skeptical take about the Barbie controversy. We all know that controversy sells.
Mm, mhm, mhm, mhm.
So, some of it too, the controversy itself is some of it is contrived.
Mm.
Contract yẹn já sí pé ẹ mú sùúrù o fáwọn tá a lọ school contract pé wọ́n kàn ṣáà mọ̀ ṣe ni àbí daily motion I'm taking one for
Yes.
the team contract pé because if you go
Well,
if they speak French to you they say ṣé wọ́n ló lè you say we you will go to jail so I don't want to pretend as if I understand the English. Oya oya continue.
okay. So, because some of it is, I look at the society and I look around, I'm like, these things existed before Barbie, but okay, let's wade right in. Sometimes people who make these things create a bit of controversy around it to drive people towards it. So, like, okay, what's this thing everyone is fighting about? Let me go and see it.
Mm-hmm.
What is this thing everybody's fighting around? Oh, if they're fighting around me, if they're fighting about me, let me, I have noticed even myself, like when I have maybe if I've come out with something and a bunch of people are protesting against it, let's say I do a post, for example, and everybody likes it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, great. All it'll take is one person to say, oh, this blah 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 is not this or disagree. And then everybody, I'm just going to sit back and relax. Because now all my friends are like, nope, this is wrong. Nope, that is wrong. Nope, that is wrong. So in our
Con-
society,
controversy
controversy sells.
sells. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know,
So, having said that, the unrealistic beauty standards that exist will exist long after Barbie has gone, and they were existed long before Barbie came along. If you're a woman, if you're skinny, you're too skinny. If you're fat, you're too fat. If you talk too much. If you are quiet, they'll say, why are you not talking? If you are bubbly and nice, they'll say you are a flirt. If you sit down in one corner, they'll say, look at this one, she can't even talk. So it's like,
mhm.
where does it end? If your hair is long, it's too long. If it's short, it's too short. If your tummy is out, something. If you didn't have kids and
Yeah,
your
ọdún
tummy
mélòó
is
lọmọ ẹ ó ti
in,
pẹ́ tó ti bímọ
it's
náà.
if your tummy is inside, it's like, look at you.
Are
You
you
don't have
not
clothes on.
eating?
It's one
Mhm,
thing, one
mhm.
thing, one thing, one thing, one thing. So yes, to me, Barbie was just a toy, but that's not to say that I'm not aware of these pervasive beauty standards and how it's almost like Dr. Tedros said early on, it's almost like they're using Barbie to push those standards because, as you said, and I wrote it down, that making of the Barbie came out of that mindset of there should be a beauty standard. What is a beauty standard? Why is there a beauty standard? Are we not all beautiful?
In the second
Like I
place.
tell my kids, I tell my kids, you're fine, you're great. I've been telling them you're beautiful since the day they were born. You're gorgeous, you're great, you're gorgeous, you're great, you're fine, you're beautiful. Because when I know when they go out there, there's going to be somebody, some billboard, some sign, something that's going to tell them that they're not enough in whatever
Mhm.
way they are.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Even
Mhm.
when you are enough,
You're
right?
more than
What
enough.
do Even when you are more than enough, you are not enough. Haven't you heard people say this? I can't stand perfect people. They are stuck up. Meanwhile, there's no perfect person. And how do you know they
Mhm.
are stuck up? So that's, of course, that's kind of, maybe I wandered into the weeds a bit, but that's like the little
No,
thing
I
that goes
love
off in
that.
my own head.
I love
You know
that.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
yes, Barbie was just a toy for me, but the so-called standards are stuff that we individually have to like decide. You know what? I'm not going to participate in that.
Mhm.
Lovely.
Mhm.
Dr.
You
Sajid,
know,
you wanted to say something?
yeah, yeah. I think we also have to acknowledge sort of the cultural differences, right?
Mhm.
That what, like I said earlier, Barbie is white. I knew that I was never white, so I never really attached as much to Barbie. Um,
You mean you were not white at any point?
you know, um,
Hey.
so
Okay, keep going.
I can see perhaps in in the Western whites, mainstream society, what Barbie was, how Barbie was um, affecting
Mm,
young girls, right?
mm, mm,
That's when you have certain eating disorders. I mean, not that we don't want to dump all of this on Barbie. Again, it's the
mhm,
mindset, right?
mhm,
So it's manifesting in a particular community or culture in a specific way. Right. So it has to do with the body size. But
mm,
then maybe when you look at the black culture, whether it's Africans or African Americans or West or Caribbeans, our issue may not have been Barbie's proportions, right? Our issue was Barbie's complexion,
mm,
right? So, and when you attach that to the fact that there's colorism in in black culture, um, globally, so to have a doll that is white, there's no representation of you in dolls,
mm,
right?
mm,
So then you have, of course, then they started producing Barbies of all cultural types, which was good, right? Because then maybe, let's say, that solved some problem, but not entirely, because then she was a light skinned Barbie. Where were the dark skinned Barbies?
Now we have all manner of shades, which I mean,
And
I
now we
think
have all
I
manner of
I
shades, but it manifests differently. That
mhm,
issue of what Barbie represents, right, and
Mm.
how it manifests differently in different cultures.
I agree with that. I also think if I was growing up in Nigeria, and maybe I couldn't ask my mom for dolls. Any doll I get, any money where I get na enjoyment. They don't talk about my future. If they just I just had
Exactly.
happen to come into a Barbie, whether
Hmm.
she's green or whether she's yellow, we won't care. We'll be like, baby,
Hmm.
somebody gave me baby.
Yes.
That's it. So I think
Hmm.
also depending on you grew up in the States, so you had maybe a little bit more knowledge than somebody like me would have, who moved to the States when I was 18, because it was like, it's baby.
Hmm.
Even better if our hair is slick. I mean slick,
Yes.
SILK slick. Anyway, so do your girls? And I'm so lucky to have girl moms in the house today. Do your girls own Barbies? I'm gonna go to Dr. Shella. Do they have Barbies? Why or why not? And if you have an interesting story that you can share about that, we would love to know.
So, I have an interesting story, but I'm wondering if I should share it now or leave it to the end. Can I share it now?
And let's share it. Another story will come. Story man, but story
Yes.
not Shembini.
Sorry, that's very exactly.
Yeah.
So, yes, my girls have Barbies, and whether it was a Barbie or any other doll, I always bought a doll that approximated to their complexion. So, except when it was like, I bought them these princess sets, which had, Princess Tiana and everybody else in it. So they had some, I would say non-melanated dolls amongst them.
Hey, non-melanated.
But
Write it down, whoa. Non-melanated, everybody. Okay, keep going, ma.
so you're going to make my brain cells laugh
Don't worry.
themselves out of my head.
Don't worry, don't worry. They'll come back.
So, so for my daughters, I always bought them even there's different kinds of dolls, American Girl dolls. When
Mhm.
just like somebody got a rich auntie who bought them American Girl dolls, and as they walked into the store, they said, my daughter first said, I want a doll that looks like me. Speaking of
Mhm.
looking like me, a few years back I lived in England with some family, and one of the I would say one of the nieces, she's biracial. So, she's not white, but doesn't look white, but doesn't look like me either. So she loved Barbie, 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 Barbie. And one fine day I decided to buy her a Barbie for, I think, one of her birthdays. And I went looking, because now this is the influence of my mother. By this time I didn't even have kids. But I went looking for a Barbie that was as close to her complexion as I could get. Oh my goodness. When this
Wow.
child saw this Barbie, she went wild. She said, I've never had a Barbie that looks like me before. That's how she was shaking. These 4 year olds, when they get all emotional. Thank you. I was like, oh my goodness. You know? And I was like, wow, this is what my that looks like her. And it meant so much to Jessica to have a doll that looked exactly like her.
Wow.
So that's my interesting Barbie story right there.
That is quite a story. That is quite a story.
Love
Go
it.
ahead, Dr. Teju. Do your
Love it.
girls have Barbies and any stories? And you don't have to have a story. Dr. Jola, you are a very good storyteller. No wonder you are writing
He
book.
is. He
She's our stories are gist.
is.
She's like gist will be coming. Gist will be coming.
Mhm. Mhm.
We do that dinner. We do it.
Oh yeah.
DM
You
fam.
people will not eat. You'll just be talking and
I'm
laughing.
telling you.
You won't eat.
It is very flexible. DM fam, please get in the chats. We want to know what you think about this matters that we're talking about. Go ahead, Dr. Teji.
So I continued the tradition. My girls did not have a Barbie. Just like
Ah, everybody's getting Barbie in their Adeshina house this December.
you're gonna get us Barbies. So no, they didn't have Barbies, but if we did dolls, and we did do dolls, did do some dolls, they would always have to be dolls that looked like them. Um, and we did do the off-brand American doll, American Girl. They had the off-brand ones.
There's off
You
brand.
Yep.
know, yeah, the
Yes, there's
off-brand
off
ones. The
brand.
Why
other
did I
ones,
not know
some
about that?
other. So they were
Oh,
more
there's off brand.
affordable. You know,
Ah.
so we would do those. So I
At
I
least I
did
can
buy
afford the
them.
off brand one now.
Mhm.
I still can't afford the real one.
so so we did those, and yes, they always had to be. It was important to me that they be dolls that looked like them and that they could see themselves in. But my issue with, because there were black Barbie dolls that we could have gotten too,
Yes.
but I didn't. I had a real issue with how sexualized Barbie was. She looked like a
Mm.
grown woman, and I was like, what is this child supposed to be doing with this grown woman with all her curves and
Mm.
and everything,
All
and
her
just
curves is right.
Yep.
right, boobs out like this, and
Ah,
no,
everything, yes.
it felt inappropriate to me.
Mm.
So for that reason, I never got them dolls that looked like that, whether it was Barbie or any other brand. But any doll that just had that seemed sexualized to me was not appropriate. To the point that I didn't even allow them to watch the Barbie shows, the Barbie videos,
Wow.
those YouTube shows.
Mhm.
It was just a thing with me. I think I remember one time we were in the car and they had I think maybe it was Busola. I don't know whether it was Busola or Ebon, but they had their device. right? And they'll be watching, watching their videos, watching something in the car. And I got wind that I think she had clicked on a Barbie video. If you see the way that I reached from the passenger seat in the front to the back and snatched, and sorry, I smacked that child. Like, it was visceral for me, because there was something about just dolls that looked like that and behaved that way, even just their videos, that I felt was just so sexualized. um, I mean, it's a backstory for me, but so that was always just the point of contention with me, with
That
those
is
dolls, just
that is
the sexualization.
such an interesting viewpoint. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that
yeah.
because yeah, of course, from the Barbie movie and the actress's monologue, we hear all the gripe about what Barbie represented to the average female human being. And I'm gonna read a little bit of that just so that we kind of just get it in our heads as we start to talk about our next point of conversation. Hi, Shubi said, I want to go to the chats a little bit so that they can join the conversation. Her girls had Barbies. Unfortunately, in Canada, they had Barbies. She said, we did not have the opportunity to have black dolls until at Mayo, which is Ronke champion, but them American dolls at least close to their skin tone. Yeah. So everybody in Canada is white. It's a very serious say something. I'm going to import black Barbie into Canada. Anyway, as we start to talk about, I know the title of this is, life size Barbie. And what that really means is that you and I are life size Barbies. Like we're all walking around as a female species, the greatest species that God ever thought of and created, might I add.
Amen, amen.
And we are in this world, and the Barbie movie brings our attention to this oversimplified matter of what we're supposed to be and what we are to represent. um the monologue from the movie says, you have to be thin but not too thin. And you can never say you want to be thin. You can't say that because people are going to say, so are you not content with what you are? You have to say you want to be healthy, not thin. You have to have money, but you can't ask for money because that's crass. Like, what kind of woman is going around asking for money? You have to be a boss, but you can't be mean. So you got to call the shots. You got to know what you want. You got to know how to get it, but you can't be too mean or dominating because then you threaten another species. You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. You're supposed to love being a mother, but don't talk about your children too much. Kilo Day is it only your children that are here? My daughter, my son, you have to be a career woman, but always be looking out for other people. Like you gotta do your work and every other person's work. You have to answer for men's bad behavior, which is insane. This, I think, is actually quite insane, and I never paid attention to it until this moment because of one special thing. When you get married, if your husband behaves badly, and I think it goes the other way too sometimes, but mostly when your husband behaves badly, and sometimes when it has to do with their family, it's always the Yahweh. She be Yahweh one bit. Even if he's not, can't is she not talking to him? So it's like you have to answer for men's bad behavior, which is insane. I say that again. But if you point that out, you're accused of complaining. You're supposed to stay pretty for men, but not so pretty that you tempt them too much, right? Because they are other people's husbands, and that you threaten other women because you're supposed to be part of this sisterhood. This is real. This is what we really face as women. And, we're talking about this conversation about Barbie, but really, what are we talking about here? What are the, regardless of the life in plastic, oh so fantastic Barbie, the society standards that women are held to, do you think those are fair? Are those fair? I look at the head wants to, and DM fam, I just want to ask you the same question. And if you think they're not fair, or if you think they are fair, why do you think they're fair? you know um where do we start? How about you just go, because I see both of you have things you want to say. So let's see who says it first. Go ahead, Dr. Teji. It's not fair.
No, it's not fair. Expectations and these standards they don't come from reality, you know? And there's so many contradictions, in is what you should do, how you should be. So with all of those contradictions, who is the superwoman? Who is the person that's going to live up to any of that? We've got on one hand Aretha Franklin singing "I'm every woman," right?
No, I
Impossible.
ain't.
Then you
I ain't.
got Karen White saying, "I'm not your superwoman." Right?
Right? Right? Go ahead, no
you know
correct.
I mean, so this idea that we we confuse sort of what God created with what we have created. And we
Mm.
think somehow because this is what we have, that somehow it has been endorsed, and it's because God has allowed it, that it's something that he endorses, right? And that's not the case, because what this is a fallen world, right?
Mm.
And we are people who are being recreated into that original vision, right? We're
Ah.
being sanctified,
Mm.
right? So we are in a
Mm.
very unsanctified space right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, so yeah, so these expectations and these standards are not fair. They couldn't possibly. They're not fair for women, but they're also not fair for men,
Mm-hmm.
Say that.
you know, because there are also expectations of them, right, that are sometimes impossible to live up to. So who who is going to meet any of this? Who's going to meet any of these expectations? No one. We're all going to fall very, very short of them. And thank God that we would, because it was not what was intended for us in the first place.
Amen. Hallelujah. Nobody go to church tomorrow. They just preach the sermon. Thank God now. Collect tuition. That was really good. I love that. I love that. Dr. Shadi?
Well, well, well. How does one follow that?
We follow
You
it
can.
with big words. Automaticity, acrobaticality.
you see, you see, Dr. Champion, you say something and then
Okay,
I start laughing
I'm not going to
and
talk
my
again.
thoughts get scrambled
I'm not going to
like
talk
Again,
eggs,
like this.
like
till
eggs. Like, yeah,
Sorry, yo.
okay.
Ele.
till
The
we
thoughts are
finish.
scrambled now.
Till we finish. I'm not going to
Oh
say
my
anything.
goodness. Oh my goodness. So no, the beauty standards and all that are not fair. But then I agree with every single thing Dr. Teju said. So I'm going to sort of piggyback on what she said,
Mm.
which is that, you know, you get to extract yourself from nonsense that doesn't apply to you. Now, that's more easily said than done. I know
Mm.
that. I know
Mm.
that. Um, but one day, I think one day I woke up and I just decided that why do I have all these body image issues?
Mm.
From the time I was little. So my lips were too. I always thought my lips were too big. So if you see me in my teenage pictures, I was always doing my lips like this, like trying to make them smaller. It
Mm.
was always something. Oh, your tummy. Oh, your cheeks. Oh, your thighs. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. You're too skinny. I have been through the whole you're too fat, you're too skinny thing as well. Like, oh,
Mhm.
when I was
Mhm.
growing up, constantly it was like, oh my goodness, skinny ribs. She looks like someone that doesn't eat. Even
Mm.
parents, right? Oh, you look like someone that doesn't feed you, blah, 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 blah. But then you put on a little weight, it's like, oh wow, you're getting fat. It's like, ah, wait, you are the person that was telling me, the same person that was telling me a few years ago that I was skinny. What happens?
Mm.
So I think that as individuals, we it's almost like you have an uphill battle to fight against the system. So instead of lying down, rolling over, and playing dead and accept these so-called beauty standards, how about you decide to be the beauty standard for your own self?
Hello.
And it's like, because it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Sorry for my French. So if you accept the beauty
I think
standards
that
and
is
try to
Spanish.
live up to them, okay.
So it's Italian.
She's done it again.
Sorry.
If you don't, if we do not, what's the word? If
If
we have to decide,
mm,
this thing, I do not participate.
mm,
So I'm going to do my best for myself. And I there's something I say a lot of women are afflicted with something called what will people say syndrome.
mm-hmm,
Because I've noticed that a lot of people, they don't look inward for their decisions. The first thing they think of is what will people say. And a lot of times these people are fictional imagined people. It's not like your yes, it's not your spouse or your child or your friend. Because, like, for example, let's say I'm going out. Okay, there you go. I'm talking about this dinner, which we have to have, by the way, and I'm
we
paying.
must, we
So,
must. You are
so if you
paying.
like free food, yes,
Can we go
exactly.
after this show?
I'm paying. I'm paying. Yes. So if you like free food, I like to, and there's just something about me. I like to feed people. It's just Anyway,
There will be
okay.
problem. The people you want to feed does not like to eat, but it's okay for you. I will eat.
No, don't worry. You can order a salad. It's fine,
I
or
will.
whatever.
She'll eat for you.
I know. You see, now I've forgotten what I was saying, but
Yeah.
back to the fact that at some point, like, okay, I was trying to give an example of, okay, let's
You
say
are
I'm
going
going out
out.
with I'm going out with Dr. Champion now. When I get dressed, most of the time, I'm not going to be thinking, what's Dr. Champion going to, what will she think about my body? Because I know you're my friend, you're not going to care. A lot of times, our what will people say is about fictional people that don't really exist because they're
It's
not
true.
thinking about us.
Tell
If I
that to
come dressed like
teenagers.
this, you will still you will still accept me, and I know you will accept me. But it's like, hey, people will now say I don't have this. People will now think I'm fat. Who are these fictitious people
Which
that we
people?
ourselves hold our these weird standards,
Our
hold
village,
ourselves to
our
these
village
weird
people,
you
our
know.
village people.
So we have to be more, I would say, intentional
Mm.
about when we start going down these spirals of I don't look like this, I don't look like that. Okay, accept things for what they are. Maybe there's a certain thing that needs to be fixed, which is fine. But also sometimes, a lot of times, there's nothing that really needs to be fixed. It's okay the way it is.
It
You
is.
know, it's okay the way it is. And most of the time you're fine the way you are. And if there's something to be changed, it doesn't get changed by you beating yourself up and holding yourself to some unrealistic expectations.
Mm. Mm. Preach it. Thank you for free. Oh, that session would have cost how many? How much is your session, Doctor Shola?
Per
How much
hour,
per hour?
Hey.
$500.
Yay! Doctor Shola is a life coach.
We're not
Anyway,
supposed to ask for money, right?
no,
But
Who's
this one,
coaching
this
you?
one
no,
doesn't
we are
care.
supposed.
This one asks for money.
Yeah, we ask for money. Dr. Shola is a
Yes, we
life
do.
coach, and she's a pretty
Yes.
darn good life coach at that. You can see what you can see. You can see that she's speaking Spanish on here. And she's able to tell it like it is, And so, please, she's on Facebook. Look for Dr. Shola Ezeokoli. She's on Instagram. Faith is here. Faith is the job I wanted to do before I grew up. So, when we advertise a play, don't let us now be begging you, come and sit there. Even if you don't understand, call me. I'll be Mama Shala here on the side. I'll be telling you, because sometimes if I go with my sister, it's like kilo shele. And then Musuru, I will let you know soon. So now I don't go with them again. I go with Bonife because I don't want nobody to ask me kilo shele. Let me go here. Very interesting conversations. We
Yes.
also had Bratz. Do you remember the Bratz doll? They were even worse
Yeah.
than the Barbie doll. Thank you for that, Rewo.
Yeah, the way they
Thank
dressed.
you. Yeah. And
Mm-mm.
their lips also, and they also had
Yes,
they had
yes, too
hips.
much, too
Barbie
much,
has hips,
too
no,
Yeah.
much.
not too much bum bum. Those
Yeah.
bras they had hips and then they had pedonky donk.
Yes, yes,
It
too
was,
much, too
Yes.
and their
much.
clothing was very interesting.
I
It
drew a
Yes.
was
line. Yeah, even I drew a line at
at
Bratz.
Bratz, yeah, that was
Yeah.
some very interesting one.
Too
Yeah,
much.
and Shubi said this, and when Dr. Shala was talking, you said tell the teenagers, Shubi said, as adults, we know these expectations are not fair, but I would be curious to know the Gen Zs and the millennials and the alphas what their opinion is on this life is plastic. Do you know? So we're having these conversations with us, baby boomers and beyond, and some of us millennials, so that you don't transfer this to the next generation. They are on Instagram doing their stuff. When we get educated about what they are facing, then even bringing our own emotions to the forefront, dealing with it, and now saying, I bet they are dealing with the same thing. So if you have not been actively, like Dr. Shola was saying, pouring into your children that, I see what's going on outside, but this is how God created you and this is how he wants you to be. So we have to be even more intentional. And before we can help other people, we almost sort of have to help ourselves, which is the thing. And we are still struggling from this. That's why the conversation is still so important. You going out and all the people in your head, all your friends in your head that are going to be judging you, that you don't even have friends. But yeah, I show anymore one I know. If you don't like this clothes because I wore it before, please buy me another one. Rewo says something very profound. Hi, Dr. Rewo. The freeing thought is that everyone is the main character of their own life. So they are not thinking about themselves. I mean, so they are thinking about themselves, not you. Yeah, the freeing thought is everyone is the main character of their own lives. So they are thinking about themselves, not you. About 2 weeks ago, I had mentioned something similar to that. Half the time the fish people are frying is bigger than your fish.
Right.
Like, you have one little problem, you think is one little problem, maybe it's the waistline that has enlarged, and people are dealing with addictions and rape and domestic violence and sexual abuse and divorce, and you are going out thinking somebody's going to be worried about the length of your wig. This world is very busy with important things, so let's free ourselves. Dr. Olu says, does the panel see a correlation between the perceived perfection of Barbie and the Proverbs 31 expectation of women? That's a very, very important question. Yeah,
That's a
can
great
we
question.
talk about that? Can we talk
Great
about that?
question.
Let us take a
Yes.
stab at it. Let's go.
All
Yes.
right.
Um,
Let's do this.
Dr. Shala, go ahead.
Can I? Okay.
Yes, you
So
can. I
I'm
see your face lit up. I could see sparkles.
yes, it's sparkles. So for the longest time, okay, I hated that Proverbs 21 woman. Okay, I was like, what's this? Especially when like when I first came to the US, so it was like I got married, then the next year I moved. Within a month, I was pregnant. Within 2 months, I was moving to a new state. And then within whatever 9 months or whatever, the baby came. And then within 7 months, I started residency. So all within the space of 1 year, I'd gone through so many changes, was so busy, and I was struggling to catch up. So I was like, oh, this Proverbs 21 woman, 31 woman, is that something that can exist? But let me tell you something about the Proverbs 31 woman. He said the perceived perfection of Barbie. Now, Barbie is all about looks, right? The Proverbs 31 woman, I dare say, that is an ideal, right? However, there's one big thing about the Proverbs 31 woman that people forget. That lady was a rich lady with maids. A lot of women, and this kind of veers off a little bit, there's something that I call DIY middle class American culture. And it is killing women in droves, physically and literally and metaphorically. You see, In America, we put the pressure of one woman to do the things that typically takes maybe 4 or 5 women to do and be and have, and then we wonder, why isn't she doing it? This Proverbs 31 woman, didn't they say she gets up every morning and apportions to her maids? That means she's telling this one, okay, you clean the house, you do the dishes, you go and follow me to the business, you take care of my children, you. And I mean, I grew up in Nigeria and I grew up with maids. Like my mother, even though my mother didn't have like a lot of money or whatever, she had maids, or a maid or two. And I, as a person, have chosen to surround myself with people that can help me. Whether that help is free or I have to pay something for it, I would rather pay money for someone to assist me in doing something than take that money and put in my 401k. Because if I stress myself to the point where I die and leave behind a 401k, who 401k go up? Who is a 401k of a dead woman helping when you could have taken
Right.
that 401k? Not all of it. I'm not, and again, I'm not saying you should splurge and live large.
Mm.
But today, for example, today, while I was sleeping, somebody was in my house doing my children's hair and meal prepping for us for the week. And I took a nice 2 hour nap and I slept. Or else you guys would have been seeing me on this live and I would have been something else because I worked last night.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So remember the Proverbs 21:31 woman and the culture in which she lived. Those cultures, Middle Eastern cultures, a lot of women didn't have like that thing that, oh, I have to get up every day and go to work for a boss. It's not like that in that culture. In fact, I was listening to
They work
recently
from home.
a
This is
they work from home and they send maids around. Exactly. I was actually listening to some recently, something actually a few days ago, about how women in the Middle East, because they have a lot of support, so these women, they technically don't work, quote and unquote, but they have opportunities to do entrepreneurship because, well, their husband is taking care of them, their family is taking care of their children, so they have a very high rate of successful entrepreneurship. So if you have a
Mm-hmm.
shop or a clinic or a hospital or whatever you're doing, it's not
Mm-hmm.
you getting up, going to clock in with a boss, which I'm not saying it's wrong to clock in with a boss, but I'm thinking, think of the same woman who's going to get up and go to a so-called 9 to 5 that you start driving to work at. Let's say you have to resume at 9, you start driving at 8. When you leave work at 5:30, you don't get home to 6:30. Now you have to spend between 6:30 and midnight cooking, cleaning, this, that, the other,
homework,
looking
homework.
homework, looking good, right? Oh, you still have to exercise and you have to go to the gym because remember the beauty standards, right? So your hair always has to be on point, your nails always have to be on point, you have to
Mm.
exercise and you have to eat the right healthy food so that your tummy will not expand. It's
Mm.
impossible for one woman to do. So let's take out
Impossible.
the Barbie is,
It's like a poem.
there you
Barbie,
go.
I will back you up.
Impossible.
You
Eh?
speak, I'll echo
You
you.
Impossible.
echo. Eh?
Impossible. So the Barbie, I'm
Mhm.
almost going to say that the Barbie looks like everything that's wrong with American culture, while the
Mm.
Proverbs 21 looks like everything that's right with whatever culture of the day that was in.
That was
Perspectives.
applicable to. Love it,
Mm.
Dr. Tej.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
I think she has said it all. Well, what can I add? Um, Two things. Wisdom. you know, a woman has to act with wisdom. And I think
Mm.
that the Proverbs 31 woman represents wisdom, right? Especially when you put it in the context that Dr. Shala just mentioned, that you put it in the context of that culture. That woman applied wisdom. She knew what her resources were and she utilized those resources,
Mm.
to be able to accomplish the things that she could do for her life, for her
Mm-hmm.
family. Second thing is we need to look at our lives as women with a long view.
Mm.
You are not going to do everything at one time.
Mm.
You're
Nope.
not. You
Mm-hmm.
have seasons in your life as a woman. So, what you're going to do as a young woman, what you're able to do as a young woman is one thing. What you are able to do as a young married woman with young children will be a little bit more limited. What you're able to do once those children become teenagers, and they're able to take care of themselves a little bit more, frees you up some more to do some other things and experience some other things, right? What you're going to do when they go to college is different yet. So in the span, if you look at sort of the spectrum of your life, yes, you can be that Proverbs 31 woman, because you're going to do a variety of things throughout your life, and you're going to be that excellent, right? So I think that long view is important.
Yes.
I love that. That's beautiful. Look at DM fam, your tuition when you are coming next week. Tuition, please, tuition. I have all for a long time. Somebody like me, when they are doing church meeting, I try not to talk because I can scatter the church. Yeah, because but
That was me.
every time somebody comes to talk to us about the Proverbs 31 woman, I'm sitting in there. If I'm not saying it loud that the next person beside me can hear, I'm calling BS on it. I'm like, BS, 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 BS. I don't think I have had but one, well, to my own taste, not to everybody else's taste, sermon teaching on the Proverbs 31 woman that I could identify with. And I've been a church rat for a while now. I simply say she does not exist. She does not exist. There is a verse in Proverbs 31 that says that, I think it goes on to say something about who is he that can find her, like it's describing this woman, and then it goes to ask who is he that can find her. To me, in my own little interpretation of the primary six that I read, the prospect of her existence seems elusive. So that, like, who is he that can find this woman who wakes up really early, goes to bed late, has businesses, serves her husband. She does not disgrace her husband in the market space. She dresses her husband, he looks nice. You read that verse and it is so many things. Now, you're a 16-year-old woman. You may be the best planner in the world because your schedule is not full. There's no bills. There is no children. So you might be the best organizer and planner that existed. But you are also the one little woman who wants to date the 16-year-old man with yaring here, yaring through the nose, yaring through the... So as best organized as you are not yet wise.
Wise. Exactly.
You may be 25. You are in school now, right? If you have finished college, you may be going to grad school. This is a season of education for you. So you may be the most intelligent person dedicated to your studies. There's no competing bills. Maybe school loans are piling up, but you're not paying them yet. You're not working yet. Maybe there are kids. Maybe there are not that many kids yet. So you may be the most intelligent person that lived. But when we ask you to cook soup, water one side, oil one side, salt barely enough. So you may be the most intelligent person in the room and you can tell us what is going on globally, but you're not the best cook at that time.
Yeah.
Now you're 50. You have mastered the eforiru, asaro, egusi, all of that. You've mastered it. And now you are the best cook in the world. But wait a minute. You can't stay organized. Guess what? Why? Menopause are setting. You have to have post-it all over the house so that you can remember one simple task. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Now you are not sleeping at night. There's brain fog in the morning. You're having hot flashes. So the best cook, the most intelligent person, and the 16-year-old planner, they exist, but they don't exist in the same woman at the same time.
Same time.
This is graduations of
That's
our
it.
lives. So
Exactly.
please, I don't have church, but people who have church, stop preaching these things so that people don't go and kill themselves. I can't
Yes.
come and kill myself. I can't come and kill myself. But Dr. Oluwadeshida, thank you so much
Thank you.
for asking
Thank
that
you.
question, because that is a wonderful question. Now, we have had this meaty conversation and I absolutely love it. And we're going to get out of here in about 10 minutes. But as we go, several times tonight or in your lifetime, you may have heard people say, or young girls, and it's so much more meaningful when young girls say it, when they say, this doll looks like me, and you can see the joy. So that
Mm-hmm.
tells us that what they are seeing is important to them, and that brings
Mm-hmm.
about the fact that representation really does matter. So
Mm-hmm.
not just in a Barbie that looks like us, but in rooms where we want to be in, are there people who look like us? In board meetings, meetings of CEOs, entrepreneurs, in cuisines, in Paris, where the top chefs are doing beautiful things. Do we see people with our own skin color? In the hospitals, in the court, in a plant with the engineers? Representation really matters. So we are having this Barbie conversation as a segue to just highlight this point that representation does matter. And when little girls see what they can identify with, it sparks
Mm-hmm.
so much more than what life in plastic is talking about. So I'm going to throw this to Drs. Shala and Dr. Teju. We'll start with Dr. Shala and we'll go to Dr. Teju. And what are your thoughts and your final words about this? Representation matters. She looks like me.
Like I shared my story of, little Jessica, which she's now in her 20s, about how important it was for her to see California Barbie, and see that this doll looked like her. Um, it- it's hard to become something you don't see,
Mm,
you know.
mm,
And when you're talking about, in rooms and things of that nature, it is good for us to be that representation for people. And and in a sense, it even goes as far as, you know, even your career. There are a lot of doctors who became coaches because of me, you know. They're like, so Dr. Shola, what is this thing you are doing? And then they started to become curious, and now they became coaches and they're having, their own clients and doing all these different things. After I wrote my first book, all of a sudden, within 6 months, two other people I knew wrote books. If you can be that representation for somebody, whether it's that, okay, because somebody looks like you and is in this great job or great career or doing this great thing outside, etc., etc., we can be that representation for somebody else. I remember my uncle said something. Now my uncle was a NASA nuclear physicist, and he said, one day I am going to have my picture up in this, wherever place they put things. And he said, people are going to look at a black face as a father of optical communications, and they're going to see Keith Wilson. I was like, wow, imagine how many people will be influenced by that.
mm,
Imagine how many people with, having just that image
mm,
of what they can be, something they've never seen before. you know like I like to say, growing up, it was almost a given that I would be a doctor, because well, we had our family doctor, and then my parents used to take us to visit this gentleman who was in medical school, and he was very nice. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to become a doctor like Uncle Richard. And representation matters. So you can be the representation for someone else, or if you find that if as an adult, in maybe you're Gen X and there are certain places you haven't seen the representation, go find it, because it's out there.
mm,
Go
mm,
find it. And guess what? If it's not out there, you be that. You
mm,
become that representation that's going to matter to yourself and to other people.
mm, mm. I
Mm,
love that. You be
that's a
it.
word.
You be it. And other people will sometimes ask you the question, how can I be what I don't see? Where you can educate yourself. There are no cross
Yes.
boundaries of where you can go. At some point in my life, there were some things in my immediate community that I needed but was not available. And I had to make a very conscious effort to
Yep.
build friendships and connections with people outside my immediate community, because I realized that we had perfected the things we
Same.
knew,
Yes.
but we couldn't just we couldn't that bar was just right there, and we couldn't just go past it.
Mm.
And when it came to things about now our kids are going to college, all of the things that happened before college, we don't know. Just say the kids are going to college. Or the best you hear is 529, and you put 529. I had no clue what was going on with 529, putting away college money. All those things. Talking about investment, we don't have clues. Talking about really just relationships, the simplification of marriage, even just a husband and a wife, and the simplification sometimes of faith, because I had been so wrapped up in overcomplicated processes. I was just like, what I'm looking for does not exist in my immediate environment. I had to, and like Dr. Shalala was saying, I am definitely not an extrovert. It is painful for me to talk to people. I'm telling you, people, it is. I sit and I shiver like my heart is beating. My sister's on the cast. There was one day, I think it was my father's burial. I was supposed to host part of it or something like. Oh no, my father's 80th birthday. I was supposed to host part of it, and she goes, and I'm like, I'm having anxiety, right now. She just said, yeah, yeah, no sounds job. Anxiety or she will to my debe nisi to my mama to my mama sorrow. She did not believe me, even in my illness. She had no belief, so it was very uncomfortable for me to reach out and find friends that knew what I wanted to learn. But if you want to be it and you don't see it in your immediate environment, look
We'll
beyond.
find it.
Look
Yes.
beyond. Go after it. Go search for it. Go get educated. Dr. Teju, go ahead.
Wonderful. Yes, I think we're all on the same page that representation matters. It makes a big difference in you being able to see what your possibility could be, right? Being able to have a vision of all just the variety and diversity of things that are available to you in this world, right? It empowers you to see, someone who looks like yourself occupying a space that has been forbidden for us to occupy before, right? And to see them mastering it, and to see them receiving the respect and the acknowledgement, the recognition. So, for me, as you all were talking, I was thinking a lot of the comments that I get when people realize that I have a PhD in performance studies is like, oh, and you're Nigerian?
I want to know what happened with that conversation.
you know, or because it's an uncommon thing. Because we know the what's pushed primarily, in our community is the big three: be a doctor, be a lawyer, be an engineer.
In
Is there a
there.
fourth?
after
Disgrace
a,
to the
wh-
family.
after a,
Disgrace to
wh-
the family.
after a while they did. After a while they had accounting because of all those banks, all those finance houses in Nigeria. So after a while
Yes,
it was
yes.
okay to become an
To become
accountant.
a banker, right?
But
An
TikTok
accountant.
dancer is still not on it, Sha.
Yeah. So,
And that's where the money is now.
right. So it always surprises people that I did that, and why all the way to a PhD, right? Well, I had a model of someone who had a doctorate, and my father had a doctorate, so that wasn't anything um, unusual for me. The field, I mean, his was in wood science, he was a forestry. The field is definitely different to go the way of the arts. I thought maybe I would do journalism. I'd be a journalist, and that's what. So that was sort of the track that I started with in college, and because I did not have a mind for the sciences, did not. Um, so why did performance studies and sort of theater open up to me? It was a professor. that I saw at my university during undergrad in the Department of Communications Underperformance Studies, and she was phenomenal. I was just like, what? She was phenomenal. This beautiful black woman who spoke with an intelligence and an eloquence, and and would dissect theory and just deconstruct ideas. And I was like, wow, right? And
Dedication.
all of that being with creativity, right? Um, and so when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I can do this. This is possible. Right. So that's where I think that seed was sown for me. And I think that, she probably doesn't know that she had that kind of impact
Mm-hmm.
or effect on me. So I go on and, pursue this field, um, go all the way to a doctorate. And I'm thinking, wow, for other young Nigerians, other young African immigrant children, who also may have sort of this pressure of, these are the things that you ought to be. Right. These are the things that will bring honor to the family. These are the things that, will advance your life and it's all because parents want their children to do well and to be comfortable, and they want, to make sure that they'll be able to live a good life, but they see me and there is another possibility, right?
Yes.
Immediately. Because I am in a space that perhaps they don't often see many of us in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doing the kind of work that maybe they don't see many of us, doing. But I'm there, and I'm sure, and there are others too, right? So when I think about representation, I think about sort of the power, that kind of power that it has to give someone a different vision of their possibility,
Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
and when I
Love it.
go into schools, you know, um, I go into some of our schools, and there'll be sometimes there are, Nigerian immigrant children there, and there's, there'll be one that's definitely always there are Yoruba kids there, and I would say something to them in Yoruba, and they'll be like, "Oh." All of a sudden they've accessed, sort of a different possibility to see me in that space, to see
Wow.
themselves in
In that
me,
space.
you know
Lovely.
Mm-hmm.
makes such a
Lovely.
big difference.
Lovely.
So, just in a very sort of practical way that I live my life, I understand sort of the significance of what I do
To
in the
represent.
spaces. Yeah.
We love that. DM fam, we're 3 minutes past your time. We're letting you out of here. Can you please help me say a huge thank you to my life size Barbies occupying space where it matters in our community and outside of our community? Please, all the emojis, clapping of the hands. I celebrate both of you immensely.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appropriate for the conversation and beyond is just what we just heard. I know we started it from a fun part, but here we are, is where we're going. Representation does matter, and
Mm-hmm.
you can be it, and you can find it if you don't see it in your environment. Daily Motion fam, you have been absolutely wonderful tonight. I
Yes.
thank you so much. This clapping is for
Thank
you
you. Thank
because
you.
you are there first.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
But now, thus far, you have airport,
Thank
so
you.
now we'll go home and we'll go and sleep. It's been a wonderful time, my friends. Dr. Shola, I will meet you at Capital Grill in Lombard. So
Okay.
let's just do it.
I
Let's
love
just do it.
capital. I love Capital Growth.
Let's just do it once and for all. I just finish it.
Yes.
Dr.
Yes.
Teju, I love you, sister of my heart. Thank you so much. Uncle Olu, thank you so much for your support. Your support, your presence itself is even giving me
Yes.
confidence on this live. Thank you so much, and for the excellent question and for the excellent contributions, and thank you for the exposition on the Proverbs 31 woman. Go and live your
Mm.
life. Nobody is really
Yes.
watching you the way you think. All of the friends in your
Yes.
head and your little village people, they say they don't exist. Please go and enjoy yourself. Have a good night, dear fam. I love you and I thank you for being with us. God bless you. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Actually, I don't know if I'll see you in a couple of weeks or on the 30th because we have 5 weeks in this month. So I probably will see you on the 30th because we have 5 weekends in September. But whenever I see you, I will Allah at you. You will know when I'm going to be coming. Not coming out. Oh. I'm already inside now. But you will know when I'll be coming. Have a good night. God bless you.